This is Making Stitches, and this time my guest is Rachael Mills, a person whose entire career has been creative. It's taken her from a factory sewing bridal gowns to creating a huge Turner Prize winning doily. But how do you go about crocheting a doily that's big enough to cover a Ford Escort?
It's a case of start at the middle and work your way out, and I had 3 months to finish it because the textile biennial was in June.
Right.
So yeah, 3 months, 58 balls of wool. It had its own seat on the sofa. I'd do my sewing in the morning, and then after dinner it'd be like, right, get on the settee, put Netflix on, a couple of pints of tea, and away I go, crocheting into the evening really, because I was on a tight deadline. So probably 6 hours a day, probably 4 days a week. I'd have a break and then come back to it. It ended up, to make it fit the bonnet and the boot and over the sides, it ended up measuring 5 metres by 5 metres.
Hello and welcome to Making Stitches podcast. I'm Lindsay. I've loved crafts and being creative since I was a child. I also love hearing about other people's creativity, and that's what prompted me to start Making Stitches podcast. My guest this time is a lady who's been professionally creative for her entire life. From starting out sewing bridal gowns in a factory to setting up her own sewing business, and now being responsible for teaching literally hundreds of people to crochet. Last year her work came under the international media spotlight when a crochet commission she'd worked on won the Turner Prize. The piece in question was a giant doily, which was draped over an old red Ford Escort Mark III car. It's called Socio-Mobile and was part of an installation called Alter Alter, created by the artist Jasleen Kaur. I was thrilled when Rachael said she was happy to speak to me about her creative life and how she ended up creating that huge piece of work.
I started crocheting about 25 years ago. Took my crocheting on holiday with me, and just started from there. It was originally a hobby to stop smoking, something to do with your hands, and I carried it forward, and it's just grown and grown and grown. I started crochet classes around 15 years ago when it wasn't quite as popular as it is now, and now I run 4 classes a week. I run 5. On the opposite week, I run an alternate Saturday. I do workshops once or twice a month. So, yeah, it's really... originally, I started a sewing business 30 years ago, making bridal dresses and everything, because I'm trained bridal seamstress. And then, obviously, the crocheting has overtaken the sewing.
Sounds a bit like it. My word, you've had such a creative career.
Absolutely. I originally started in a bridal factory making wedding dresses, and that was piecework, so you had to get your head down and get on with it to earn your money. Came out of that. We was actually made redundant Christmas Eve. I'd worked there 15 years. Yeah.
Dear.
And I was already dabbling in a bit of this and a bit of that, making for people, and sort of hit the ground running, really.
Fantastic. So what does being creative give you? Obviously it brings you a living, but what are the other things that it does for you? So
I love to see somebody walk in the door that hasn't got the confidence, that hasn't got... They sort of quite a lot of ladies that have had anxiety or have got anxiety, got mental health problems, and they'll walk in the door quite nervous, but 2, 3, 4 weeks down the line, I've one lady that's been with me for 12 years.
Wow.
Comes to us, yeah, absolutely. So it's the pleasure of seeing somebody grow, of seeing somebody take a ball of wool and a crochet hook and go, oh, I can't do this. And 2 weeks later, they've made a hat. 6 months later, they're making their own cardigans and blankets. And, yeah, it's really satisfying. I love it.
Yeah, it must be. Do you do any designs yourself?
I do, yes. I do a lot of bespoke orders for people. So the cardigan behind me that you can see, that was just because I'd got some new wool and decided I liked it and made a cardigan, like I do. I do a lot of orders. Somebody will say, oh, I want a baby blanket, but I don't want it pink, I don't want it blue. At the minute, I'm doing one that is fantastic Mr. Fox inspired.
Oh, lovely.
So that's all oranges, beiges, olive greens, and it'll be a 7-pointed star.
Fantastic.
So I like to do the unusual.
Well, yes. Life's full of variety, isn't it? And crochet, the possibilities are endless, aren't they, really?
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about your involvement in what ended up being a Turner Prize winning exhibit. How did this whole story first start for you?
So I got a message from Alex, who runs the British Textile Biennial in Blackburn, and she said I'd been recommended by about 12 ladies to do a crocheted piece for an artist that wanted to display an art installation at the British Textile Biennial. This was 3 years ago, so it didn't actually start out being a Turner Prize. Obviously, nothing ever does. Well, obviously they do, but this didn't. And she asked if the artist could phone me because it was an unusual request. And I was like, yeah, okay, I've had strange, I can deal with that. So she phoned me and she said 2 other ladies had already turned her down and said it was too big a project. So we chatted and she sent me a print off of a 4-inch doily that you put your mug on, crocheted, you know, just a generic made on a machine crocheted doily. You can't replicate crochet on a machine, so that's the wrong thing to say, but they do get away with it on a knitting machine, and then make it look like crochet. So yeah, and I was asked to copy it and make it big enough to fit over the top of a Ford Escort car. So I was like, yeah, I'm up for a challenge. Why not?
Wow. How do you go about doing that, though? I mean...
So we conferred a little bit on the wool choice because she wanted it to look as close to the doily that was 4 inches. So it had to be made in an Aran yarn. So you get different weights of yarn. So Aran weights probably a medium weight yarn. It's not something you would necessarily make a doily out of. And they were 50-gram balls and it's 100% cotton because I wanted it to be as near, and that's what you would use for a normal put your mug on standard doily. Yeah. So, yeah, and then I sort of sourced the wool, did 2 or 3 different samples, sent her them, we picked one, and then I was just left to get on with it, basically.
That must have been quite something, because, I mean, I'm sure that maybe the temptation was there to go for chunky or something like that so it would work up quicker, but the drape wouldn't have been right. And when you actually see it on the car, it does look like a doily.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have worked in anything bigger. I mean, you can get super chunky yarn, you know, you can get jumbo yarn, but it just wouldn't have worked.
No, I guess...
So, yeah, it's a case of start at the middle and work your way out. And I had 3 months to finish it because the Textile Biennial was in June.
Right.
So, yeah, 3 months, 58 balls of wool. It had its own seat on the sofa.
I'm not surprised.
So it ended up to make it fit the bonnet and the boot and over the sides. It ended up measuring 5 metres by 5 metres.
Wow.
I had to sew 2 IKEA bags in to carry it. Well, I didn't carry it, I dragged it along the floor in 2 IKEA bags sewn together.
Yeah, because it was so heavy. Wow,
yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, do you have any idea how many hours of work went into that?
I generally worked, because I sew in the morning, I make handbags. So that's my thing in the sewing thing. I make memory bears and handbags out of men's jackets. And I'd do my sewing in the morning, and then after dinner it'd be like, right, get on the settee, put Netflix on, a couple of pints of tea, and away I go, crocheting into the evening, really, because I was on a tight deadline. So probably 6 hours a day, probably 4 days a week. I'd have a break and then come back to it. So yeah, a lot.
Yeah, it sounds a lot. Did you find it was hard work physically to do?
No, not really. I love crocheting, so no, it wasn't hard work physically. It's just a case of get another ball of wool, tie it on, and off you go.
Oh, that's amazing. So, how do you actually look at it when it's that big? Because most people's lounges aren't big enough for a 5 metre by 5 metre thing to be laid out. So how did you actually go about checking everything was all right?
Yeah, I used to, every week I'd go to the local pub in the morning while she was cleaning up, I know the landlady, put it on her dance floor and stand on the bar to take a photograph to make sure that it was right. So yeah, we have our ways.
Absolutely. Problem solving.
Obviously it had to lay flat. It had to be circular and it had to be flat and it had to have a design in it. I only had to unpick one row.
Oh, that's pretty good going.
Yeah, it was right in the middle. If you look at the photograph, there's great big loops to make it look like a pattern. That was the row I had to unpick. I had too many loops in it and it looked frilly.
It wasn't lying flat enough.
No.
Goodness me.
But to say I didn't have a pattern, I don't think I did so bad.
Well, no, absolutely. It was a prize-winning design, clearly.
Exactly, yeah.
So what about the artist, Jasleen, when she got to see it when it was finished? What kind of a reaction did you have from her?
She was, I'd sent her photographs when it was finished of it on the floor. And she loved it. Yeah, thought it was great and perfect for what she wanted.
Brilliant. So what happened between her getting it for this biennial and then what happened towards the end of last year? Because that's quite a development, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was displayed 3 years ago at the Textile Biennial in Blackburn. They have the British Textile Biennial, and it was displayed obviously in the museum, and there was different artists and everything else. And then she took it up to Glasgow, which is where she's from, to do an art piece up there, and it was called Alter Alter. So she did it from where she's from in Glasgow, and then I think it was in there for about 3 or 4 months. I'm not sure how long it was there. And then sort of mid-June, July, when it was announced, these 4 artists, and I got a call from a press person saying, how do you feel about you? And I was like, what? But somebody, so it was always the artist's piece. I was commissioned to make that piece. But so many people have said about having, you've made it and everything. And I've had so much advertisement off it and press. And so when it was announced, when it went in the British Textile Biennial 3 years ago, it was actually the photograph of the day in The Guardian.
Oh, wow. Goodness.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this is a bit special. And then when it hit about the Turner Prize, I just burst into tears.
I bet you couldn't ever have imagined that when you were sitting there with your two pints of tea, crocheting away.
Yeah, thinking, what the hell am I doing? Yeah, what mad person wants a 5 metre by 5 metre doily on a Ford an old Ford Escort car? But when it all came together and when her premise for it and her write-up for it, it was like, okay, that works.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. It clearly resonated with people. Oh, that's so amazing. So, I mean, have you been approached for any other artworks?
Not yet. I do have a couple of things in the pipeline that I'm not allowed to say.
Oh, that sounds intriguing. Watch this space.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just happy doing my crochet classes. I love doing my crochet classes. I mean, the experience has been enormous. You know, I've had the BBC crew in my dining room. I've had ITV in my dining room. I've been on the radio. You know, I've actually this last month. They've just done a 3-page spread in Simply Crochet, which is actually my magazine. When I took up crocheting and I stopped smoking, I've got every episode, because my thing was, if I'm not buying cigarettes, I'm going to replace it. And I replaced it with a crochet magazine. So I actually have Simply Crochet from the very first edition. So that to me is really special. To have the 3-page spread in it is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that must be really. You feel like you've arrived once it's appeared in there.
Absolutely, yeah. I've had the Mayor of Blackburn turned up on my birthday because I had a crochet class on that day, and I went for tea with the Mayor at Blackburn Town Hall, and we were chatting about and everything, and he's a big believer in health things, you know, and doing things for your health. So yeah, he turned up, massive bouquet of flowers and a birthday card, and sat and had tea and cake with us, and yeah, it was good.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Been a ride.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and it's not stopping either by the sounds of things.
Hopefully not. Maybe I'll get a little break, but yeah.
So aside from that, what's on your horizon then, as creative wise?
Well, as I say, I launched my lapel bags. I'll show you one. I know the listeners can't see. So I make bags out of suit jackets.
That's beautiful. Oh, well, I'll get some photos from you if that's all right, and I can put it on my social media, and then people can see. That is beautiful.
All different linings. So this one's mine. I'm absolutely cat mad. So this one's mine. It's got a blue and Harris tweed, and then I've got cat lining.
That's inside. Oh, that's fantastic.
And then obviously for my crochet classes, I make great big shopping bags. So work in progress.
Oh, that's
bags.
super.
So this one's got embroidered on it. I'm a happy hooker.
Fantastic.
So they'll buy them to put their crocheting work in.
Good idea to have such a big shopping bag, because if you're working on a blanket or something like that, it's not going to fit in your average tote bag, is it?
And it is 2 different hobbies. So you've got crocheting and then you've got buying yarn. So it's 2 completely different hobbies.
Yeah, well, both of which I'm guilty of myself, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's wonderful,
and
Rachael.
Lucky I can turn my dining room into a wool shop.
So over all these years that you've been teaching people to crochet, have you any idea how many people you've actually set off on their crochet adventure?
Oh, gosh, I wouldn't even like to think. I have no idea. Must be hundreds and hundreds. I mean, at the moment, I have between 30 and 50 ladies a week. Some drop out due to personal reasons or health reasons. But I generally have around 35, 40 ladies a week in 4 or 5 classes. And then this year I'm doing something I have always wanted to do, and I'm running a crochet retreat at a lodge. So there's 16 ladies, all that come to my classes, 16 ladies, and we're all going to spend the weekend eating, drinking and crocheting.
That sounds like heaven.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I guess your experience is just a lesson in saying yes to opportunities when opportunities come knocking, because you never know where it's going to end, do you?
Absolutely. Definitely.
Oh, well, Rachael, if anybody is interested in following your work, where can they find you online?
So my sewing page is called REM Designs. That's my initials. And then my crochet page is Crochet Crazy Creations. So both those pages, I have the sewing on and the crocheting on. And then if anybody's in the Lancashire area, you can always come to a crochet class.
That's wonderful, Rachael. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story with me for the podcast. It's been great to chat to you.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
My thanks to Rachael for speaking to me for Making Stitches. You can find the links to Rachael's Facebook pages in the show notes for this episode. And thank you to you too for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends. And if you'd like to support me and my podcasting, you could buy me a virtual coffee through my Ko-fi page, or visit my Etsy shop where there's podcast merchandise and some of my own crochet patterns. You can find links to those in the show notes for this episode too. That's all for this time. I'm going to be back again with you in 2 weeks' time with another creative chat. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, take care and enjoy your crafting.